Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why this is an absolutely huge end of the regular season and postseason for Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's not the typical, oh, the Bucks need to play well to keep Giannis in free agency in 2021, but it's also about what this means for Giannis's legacy, his reputation around the league, and how the perception of him as a superstar could be shifting really soon. But really quickly, before the video gets started, I wanted to give a huge shout out to you guys. The Illogical Awards the other day was a huge success, and that's all because of the support of you guys. The likes, the views, the comments, everything was out of control, and I really appreciate it. With that said, if you're enjoying this type of content, then consider subscribing. I upload 4 times a week, and leaving a like rating is also a great way to let me know that you're enjoying the video, and it helps it out a ton as well. With that said, let's go and get started. Okay, so let's start off by kind of evaluating where Giannis Antetokounmpo is in his NBA career. It's been a wildly successful one to this point, mostly within the last couple of seasons. He's been on this upward kind of trajectory, and now he's really made himself into one of the best players in the league, certainly one of the best regular season players in the league. And he's still just 25 years old. He's in his 7th NBA season, and so he's in this kind of honeymoon stage still with a lot of NBA fans where it's new and it's exciting, and he's such a unique player physically and skill set wise that everybody is still pretty much in love with Giannis Antetokounmpo and who he is as a player and what he brings to the table. But there's going to be this thing that starts to happen with him that happens with every single big time superstar, where things begin to shift if you don't reach the expectations that other people place on you. And like I said, he's still kind of in this can do no wrong type of situation right now as a superstar because of his age and because, yeah, he's been in the league for a while, but not so long to the point where the fact that he hasn't made a finals yet should be that big of an issue. However, as we get into this postseason and next year as well, that conversation around Giannis Antetokounmpo in terms of what kind of player he is, what kind of reputation he has, the perception of him, especially as a playoff performer, that is going to be a conversation that is going to continue to grow around him, especially if things don't go well. The conversation is going to become, oh, well, Giannis is a great regular season player, but he's going to kind of start to get that James Harden label where the regular season statistics, as great as they are, won't carry as much weight because people just won't believe in him when it comes time for the postseason. And that's why it's so important for this team and for Giannis specifically to be really successful in these playoffs, get to the conference finals, get to the finals, for Giannis to have a signature series. Otherwise, I really think people are going to start to turn on him. And when you go back and look at it, this happens to a lot of players a lot of the time. If you don't have like a finals appearance or a lot of significant playoff success, or maybe you do have a finals appearance, but in other series you don't play particularly well in the playoffs, the narrative around you starts to shift. Whether it's Carmelo Anthony, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the list goes on and on and on. But more specifically, as it relates to Giannis's situation, I think the more direct comparison is actually LeBron James. Now, obviously, the narrative around LeBron has shifted a ton throughout his career, early career, middle, and late, and obviously now everybody knows that he is a great playoff performer. But most specifically, when you're looking at LeBron's career right around at the point that Giannis is at right now, going into the summer of 2010, there's a lot of similarities there. LeBron was also 25 years old, just like Giannis. He had also just finished up his 7th season going into the 2010 offseason, and he'd won 2 MVPs with 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances and 1 Finals appearance to his name in those 7 seasons. And obviously, it's not a one-to-one direct comparison, but the age, the number of seasons played, the MVP stuff, and then to a lesser extent, the limited playoff success, although LeBron's situation was obviously much different than what Giannis has in Milwaukee right now. All of those things combined, you can start to see a parallel between these two players, and obviously the thing that ties them together is a huge looming free agency decision. And so what happens is one thing starts to feed into another and into another. If the Bucks don't have as much playoff success as people were expecting them to in this postseason, even with the weird circumstances of the Orlando bubble and everything, if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose again, or they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals at all, anything I feel like short of a finals appearance people are going to start talking about Giannis as maybe just a regular season player. Then that scrutiny causes issues within himself as well as within the team. Those two things, the limited performance and the media stuff, feeds into each other. And then that feeds into, okay, maybe Giannis could potentially leave from a media perspective. And then maybe that starts to get into his head and he starts thinking, well, maybe I should leave because I'm not having the success that I should be having here. And that's kind of what happened with LeBron, especially in that 2010 postseason, not even making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And all of those things feeding into each other all the time caused him a ton of issues. And I think that you can start to see some similar things happening here with Giannis, again, if they don't have the playoff success that they should, because there's a couple of seasons now of evidence, if we're talking about this season and last season, assuming that things don't go well in the postseason this year, of 60-win teams in the regular season that don't have playoff success, very similar to what LeBron had at the end of his first stint with the Cavaliers. Now, if you've watched pretty much any video that I've ever put out about the whole Giannis free agency situation over the last couple of months, you know that I find it hard to believe that Giannis would actually leave Milwaukee for a variety of reasons. And really all they have to do, in my opinion, is make the finals this year and he will 100% stay. There's no doubt in my mind that Giannis would sign the extension this offseason if they make the finals. And obviously if they win the championship as well, that kind of locks that up as well. But having said that, when you really look at kind of the history of how these big free agency decisions go, if they don't make the finals, if it's similar to last year where they win 60 games, make the conference finals, but don't make the NBA finals, then I think that there could be some possibilities there for Giannis to potentially leave, and you can start to see the parallels between LeBron and Giannis' situation. And it's all going to come down to this offseason when Giannis has the opportunity to sign that extension and whether or not he decides to, or wait out until free agency. And that's why this postseason specifically is so important, not only with the free agency stuff, but as I continue to mention, the perception of Giannis. And it's not something that we really think about before it happens. It's something that really we become aware of afterwards when we're like, oh, wow, people really don't think about Giannis or think about LeBron or think about Carmelo or Russ or James Harden in the same way that they used to, because they just don't perform well in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that he has been a poor playoff performer or that he will be one moving forward, but when your team doesn't get to where they need to, people just start to form opinions about you as just a regular season player, and specifically this team is a regular season team. And that would not be a good thing for Giannis himself, for the Bucks' ability to retain him in free agency. So overall, in general, this is a massive, massive season, end of the season, postseason for the Milwaukee Bucks, which we already knew, but another layer of this outside of just the free agency stuff for Giannis is the perception of him around the league as a player. He's entering into this timeline, entering into this part of his career in which people are really going to evaluate what type of player he is. He's fully in his prime and really start to think, okay, is this a guy that we can count on in the postseason, or is he just another big stats during the regular season guy? Huge, huge season for Giannis. And yeah, there you have it. That is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.